Done.
Right there. Okay. So this is our Friday, July 24th meeting. So thank you all for being here. Looks like we got 18, 19 people from around the state. I see some new names in here. I don't know, maybe you guys have participated here in some of the other meetings, so I apologize if I didn't see you before, but welcome. Um, obviously we've been kind of talking about everything transportation related and how we're going to be starting up and what school districts are doing. So that's kind of the purpose of this, is just to share the information. So appreciate everybody being here. Who watched the governor's meeting yesterday?
All of us, right?
Yeah, I think so. So, a little bit of, well, definitely no information. I think that was new, other than 180 days are required, and we're all supposed to start online on our given first day, I think. So, has anybody so far heard, any new plans or anything from their district that they want to share as of right now? Nobody.
We pushed our start date, board approved it to September 8th at our board meeting this week,
For
but
in person?
yeah, for in person, they pushed it to September 8th. So
And so that means they're going to start everybody online on the 5th of
August
August.
5th. Yep.
So, and you're still planning to have drivers coming back to work as of the 5th? Or are you doing some sort of in-service prior to that?
We come back the 29th on a Zoom meeting for everyone. And then that afternoon, those that are going to be working on campuses will be in here for a meeting as what their expectations are. And then they start on campuses the 30th. And then on the 30th, I have food service drivers going to be in here for their expectations and what they have to do with the new, because we're not on summer food program, we're back to national school lunch program where we have to charge students for lunches and so on and so forth.
So are you guys going to be doing bus stop deliveries, or?
Yes, between 10 and 11 a.m. we're going to be at bus stops to drop off. Well, not drop off, but for students to come buy food.
And I've seen a few different districts offering some limited bus stop meal drops, which I think is positive for our work groups, because we're going to get our folks back working if in fact school's not resuming. So that's helpful. But
yeah, all the cafeterias will be open. So with the walking boundaries, we'll go to the cafeteria. We're only going to do bus stops in areas that are not in walk boundaries.
got it.
Interesting. Armando, you weren't here last meeting, but I know that Phoenix L pushed everybody back to October. Do you want to talk about kind of what that looks like for Phoenix L and what you guys are plans for drivers, if you know yet?
As far as I know, I spoke with HR yesterday. My staff comes back on August 3rd. We're working on reassigning them to schools for right now, because in-district classes don't start until after our fall break, which is October 10th or 12th or something like that. And so the staff, depending on what we need done as far as delivering work packets or, what lunches, things like that, they will all be assigned to the schools and do their, because my staff gets 8 hours a day. And so they will be doing that, working there, doing whatever needs to be done custodial wise, and going from there. Other than that, we haven't been really told anything else. And I know Ryan's been working with some other district admin, coming up with little things, but it's not like continuous 8 hours a day worth of work every day. That's where we're at.
So how are you, I guess, question for both Tommy and Armando and those that have started working on this, how are you identifying which staff are going to work for food service, which staff are going to work for at a school? Are you just kind of taking volunteers and making a list, or are you putting up for bid, or how, what are the details behind that?
I did a survey and they had to choose what their first, second, and third choice would be. First choice, is either food on campus, or like a virtual learning, like we did for the end of last
March,
school year.
yeah.
And so they filled that out. And then I asked the principals, how many people do you think you're going to need on your campus? They told me, and then I did a sign up sheet and I just shared it on our website, our private website, and said, fill out which one you want. if you don't fill out by this Friday, I'm assigning you to a campus if that was your choice. Right now I need 21 buses just for the food service runs.
Yeah,
So,
it's a big
and I've
deal.
got like 40 something people signed up for classroom, and only like 10 people maybe signed up for virtual learning. So
Got it.
that's how I did it.
Yeah, we haven't gone that far yet, but we already know we have drivers that are already working for child nutrition that have been working all summer. So those people would continue doing that. I've got drivers who've been working for the warehouse all summer, so we'll keep them there. And then the rest will be spread out. Fortunately, I only have to do 25 drivers, so, you know, that's not too bad.
I think Jason, Shannon are a little jealous, and so is Karma on that one with only 25 drivers.
Yeah, I would agree.
And Trace trying to
Trace,
figure out how
right?
to do something for, 75, 80, 90 drivers kind of sucks.
And I already know that I'm gonna have a few that are gonna either go on, leave or whatever, because of course they were hired to drive, blah, blah, blah. And the job description
Right.
for
Well-
my staff says that they are support personnel and bus drivers.
Is your
Well,
district granting leaves?
What's that?
Is your district going to grant leaves for people that aren't comfortable or have some sort of medical notice that says that they
Yes,
can't come to work?
they've done it. They've been doing it since March.
So I
Well-
think a lot of us or a lot of our districts are doing that in alignment with the COVID CARES criteria, which I'm sure you've all seen, which is that 60-day max or 16-day max without transitioning to a different leave type. But what about the folks who, and Tommy, you talked about this last week, what about the folks who say, yeah, I'm just not going to go babysit kids or at the school or deliver meals. I'm just going to wait until I can drive the bus. Do they have to resign?
Well, I just submitted to our HR. I talked to my superintendent earlier in the week and then submitted to HR yesterday. The idea of what if we offered a voluntary furlough where drivers, they didn't want to come back until we actually started. They didn't get paid, but we still paid their benefits. Because I've had a few call me like, I don't want to do anything. Other people need the money. I don't. Just let them work. Can I just come back when it's time to start school?
And keep benefits. And I made that recommendation to our leadership too. A lot of our folks are working for their benefits. So if we can protect that during an uncertain time, we can retain some.
Well, and so I put that all together with how much I would save in payroll. And just for me doing that for 24 days, for like 25 people, it's like $60,000.
Mm-hmm.
Now, our HR director goes, they have to work to get paid for their in order to get benefits. So I'm that person. I go, then how does it work when they're off in June and July when they don't work?
Right.
And then she goes, well, they have to be doing something. I'm like, again, they don't do anything in June and July when we pay for their benefits. And she said, well, if we furlough them, they don't get insurance. And I said, well, according to our meeting last week with the unemployment lawyer from the trust, he said, and by the way, here's the link so you can watch the link also for what he said, that if you offer it in their benefit package, you still have to do it. Even if it's a mandatory furlough, we would still pay for their benefit.
Right. And is it not time to get creative, folks? I mean, there's buckets of money that are earmarked very strictly, and then there's buckets of money that are a little bit less strict, and we have to get creative with this work group.
If I can save $60,000 just by 25 people not coming to work for 24 days that don't have work anyway, because
but still retain
we're not
them.
taking kids to school, why can't we offer that to them and not have so many people coming in? And it's priceless for me not to find something digitally for them to do for 24 stinking days.
Well, and they're still retained to drive when it's time to drive.
Much better.
You're absolutely correct. So that's what I presented. I'm just waiting for the answer back. My superintendent loved the idea.
Every day, so I get a little
My
bit
business
stronger.
manager was happy because it
To
was
do more without.
saving
The
money.
biggest thing is losing my breath.
Shannon, mute Armando.
Yeah, can you mute Armando?
He turned his camera off, but he didn't mute himself.
Where?
On the should see all the list of participants.
Yeah. There we
No
go.
Just click his
Got
little
it. Got
microphone. Yeah. My business manager loved the idea of, $60,000. What could I do with that? Exactly. And I'm fine with that. Now I took out what we pay for benefits and it was like 18,000. So
Exactly.
okay, I'm still saving like $40,000 here. I mean, that's something, right?
And encouraging social distance and retaining staff that knows your district and
And look at our staff. A lot of them are in that high risk category just because of age. You know, our drivers are retired. They do this for a little extra. They do this for this and that. A lot of husbands do it because they don't want to listen to their wives at home with honey-do lists. A lot of wives do it because they want the extra spending money without listening to their husbands complain about why you spending all my money, right? So, and they get pensions already.
right.
So
It's just
they don't need the money. They are working for their
True.
bank. So yeah.
Yeah, it's
Anyway,
a time to be creative for sure.
I'm
So-
trying to be.
Sam, I think your district plan has been one of the most differed between June and July. You want to talk a little bit about what Tempe Union, I guess, has settled on since June and what their plan is to return students back and start online?
Well, yeah, we had that hybrid schedule where we were gonna go have students in class one day a week. Of course, that kind of went out the window and the state said they wouldn't fund us. So it looks like, it's either, right now, the options are either 5-day or all online. And I think at this point, we have 2,500 students enrolled online. So we do see that our numbers are going to diminish. But it's kind of wait and see. I think our board has a meeting, I think it's next week. So we may go push it to October. That's the rumbling in our district, but again.
Didn't you receive, and I guess I ask everyone, didn't you receive the guidance from the governor that we have to have an in-person model? Like based on all of the diversity and inequities that the expectation is if the benchmarks support an in-person model, we're not to wait.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not real familiar with all the details, but I have heard some of that. But aren't there's several districts going October, right?
Right.
So.
That are pushing that, but at least from what what the guidance looks like is that every district still has to provide at least one building of in-person learning
Okay.
starting, I guess, either the 17th or when their first day of school starts. So,
Well, that's where it got confusing.
yeah, it got confusing.
Your academic year started. Well,
Right.
our academic year starts when we start our distance learning.
But
Right.
that to me tells me that we still, if that's the case, we're going to have bus drivers, at least a less small amount, that potentially are picking up students that need a ride to that building or buildings plural,
Well,
right? that are running routes. So we're going to have different routes for, probably some sort of curb to curb pickup would be my guess.
I asked that question, and one of my principals before, what I got from it was that parents will be dropping them off to that one location, and busing won't start until.
Yeah, but what about the parents that work and can't get
I mean,
there?
it clearly says parents can't be home. It's like, oh,
So
Yeah, I think after yesterday's guidance, we're all going to be running taxi services.
isn't that what we do already?
Well, yeah, but it's going to be more like taxi and Uber than school buses.
Well, and that's an interesting thought, Dave, because my director of special ed called, and our lawyer is telling us that kids that need compensatory services, we'll need to bus them for those services, even if it's an hour or 2 hours. But then if they need an evaluation, we need to bus them to that campus for that evaluation. So we could be busing kids on a Monday that we don't bus Tuesday, that we don't bus Wednesday, and someday kid they be there for an hour and a half. Well, one kid's only there for 20 minutes. So we're trying to figure out how is that going to work?
Well,
What's that going to look like? How am I going to know this in time to get that ready to take them to school?
I think it becomes that it's we are the taxi. We're not grabbing a taxi. You've got Scottsdale has more drivers than we do, and I would put maybe a rotating 10 drivers on call every day. It's a different group. You guys come and report for 6 hours. If you sit here, you sit here, and if somebody says, "Hey, I got a kid for you to pick up," or "You got to go pick up these 5 kids. Here's the addresses," and you've got an aide or a monitor or another driver that goes with them and is Googling the address. And, I don't know. I think there's ways to get around it, but I would say that we have people that are willing to work, and I would be doing that before I was sending them into a building, to go clean or do something like that. That would be just.
Well, okay, you have them at your building, but do you have enough room to keep enough drivers there where you're physically distanced?
Well, that's what I'm
That's
saying.
the problem we have. We have a lot of drivers and only a couple couple rooms. So, and all our staff is required to report on the first day that their normal start date. They have to, Scott still said they have to return unless they have checked with HR and have a doctor's note and stuff that they can't. But other than that, they're supposed to return.
So
And we're
we're going
supposed
to
to
have it in service?
We're going to have in service. We're going to do some training. We're reaching out to building service to see if there's stuff they can help us find for them. We've got the food program stuff going. But yeah, we got to find meaningful work.
When do you have in-person learning starting?
We're not until September 8th,
Okay.
the day after the 3-day weekend. So yeah, it's
I
going to
want
be
to hear Kissel's take on all this.
Right? Tell us, a wise
There
one.
it is.
I'll tell you, I just got out of a meeting actually with my administration that was called about 9 o'clock this morning. I was real pleased to see that it walked on you guys. And yeah, so I just came out of a meeting and I think I'm about as clear as mud. Our take, or my take on the matter after meeting with all the powers that be, is that our start date for online or distance learning is August 3rd. So that'll begin on August 3rd. August 17th was our potential return date after the executive order. Our district, due to the response of surveys, which I was in another group that I was meeting with on Mondays that had about 12 school districts. And to have 3,000 plus respondents in a 7,500 student district, we had a good number of parents respond. I think the number was about, I'm trying to do the math in my head, nearly 5,000 responses, and 3,000 of those said they want to return their kid to the campus as soon.
Mhm.
Now, again, you always take in demographics and, all those other things that come in play, meals, food,
Sure.
support, but we had a large number. So I mean, hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn, but the politics of it is we didn't feel that we wanted to tell our public we're not returning till after Labor Day or returning till after fall break, because so many of our public said they want to return as quick as possible.
Sure.
So we were dead set that we're not returning on the 17th. And we knew that wasn't good. I mean, the teachers now are pushing back. I mean, we were pretty sure. We were saying the 17th, but we're laughing on it. We did not expect to return then.
Oh, agreed. Agreed.
So after the meeting last night, though, after the governor's press conference, after my meeting this morning, after it was actually said, hey, Jennifer, we're going to have to feed the kids on campus. Hey, Kissel, we don't know if we're going to move them here if they want or not. Be prepared. But that wasn't the kicker. The kicker to me was this. If all the teachers are doing online teaching, right? They're doing distance teaching starting the 3rd. There is no teachers available for whatever students get dropped off at our campuses as soon as that's open, as the governor asked. I would say after the 17th, right? On the 17th.
Right.
Right.
Guess who they're thinking may be leading the
Transportation.
You're going to teach?
I'm straight
I
out.
want to be in that class.
It will be a
grade do
good
you want?
time.
There's everything you need
Kissel.
to know about Bus World, and you're going to recruit little 5th and 6th graders to be bus
I'm going to
drivers.
start young. Yeah, I'm going to
Well,
start young.
Our district is requiring our teachers for distance learning to be in their classroom. They're not to work from home. They have to be in their classroom.
I like that. I like that.
We
Well,
are
and
too.
we did the same until they pushed back. Now they're like, uh-oh. Are they going to be able to make them? And I'm thinking, of course you can make. You just told me that
Right.
because of my comment to my administration 10 minutes ago was, they said, well, do you have any questions or concerns? And I said, look, I just want to go on record saying this. If the teachers are allowed to choose whether or not they return to the classroom, if you allow that and they're allowed to teach from home, if they feel safe. If my people start saying, nah, I don't feel
You don't feel safe.
You know, I was good with coming in and putting 600 desks together because we have to get rid of all our tables. I was good with coming in and going out in the open air and handing out meals for the last, since March 16th. I'm good with all this, but to go into a classroom full of students when a teacher isn't willing to go into a classroom full of students, I go, I'm sorry, but, and they go, well, of course they're going to have to work through you. And if you can't convince them, then they'll work with HR.
Well, how is that equitable though?
Yeah, I said, time out. What's the difference between a classified and a certified person with the same concern? And that guy gets to teach from home because he's not comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my guy's got to have a classroom of, and it may be 10, 15 kids and
Yeah.
occupied for 7 hours. I'm like, guys, I think you're going to lose this one. And I go, listen, I don't anticipate that. I think a lot of our people will step up, but I think I'll have a handful right off the bat. And when they see others do it, there's going to be that snowball. Well, wait a minute, I can stay home too.
Right.
And a lot of that, Eric, I think is the AEA Red for Ed getting loud again, threatening
Yes.
walkouts if we come back too early, because they're all on contract, so on and so forth. They're not as expendable as classified staff because we're just work agreement. You see what I mean? And I think
I
that's a lot of
agree.
it is. But yeah, no, I get it. My guys will be watching kids in classrooms.
I think we will too. I think we're going to put about 600 desks together. We're gonna support food service. We're going to put kids in classrooms. I think we're going to probably paint at some point. And here's, I'll tell you what, guys. Here's been my attitude through this whole thing. When they call me and go, "Hey, Kissel, we're thinking about having your people put together 600 desks," I go like this: "Whatever you need, boss."
Pretty much.
Absolutely. And then when they go, "Hey, Eric, we're thinking about maybe feeding every child door to door. We heard Cartwright's doing it.
Yeah.
We can make a ton of money and we can take care of our community." Just think about that. It's about 28 to 35 stops when I did the math. That's every bus route running, right?
Yeah.
And that's your brother calling, David. I'll try to ignore him somehow. That's 35, 28, 35 stops depending on multifamily homes and everything.
Right.
So I'm like sitting there and I'm like, I go, that's 5 days a week. Dude, UPS, 100 stops a day or something. They got to average 2.12, 2 minutes, 20 seconds a stop. And here's a bunch of people that don't do that. This
Right. Up and down the steps,
Hey.
up and down the apartment complexes.
Yeah, but I'm like literally sitting there going, "Oh yeah, we'll deliver every meal in the district.
Yep.
We'll deliver every one." And then what I do is I follow up with an email saying, "Here's my concerns with that. Here's what I think our limitations are. Oh, by the way, I'm also putting together 600 desks. Oh, by the way, I have these annual trainings that must take place." And to answer David's, the comment on David's comment, I'm learning how to teach everything online. Everything online that I can. My goal, my room right now, we've maxed out our building. And if I put 47 employees in there, we're elbow to elbow, breathing each other's CO2. So I told them my goal is never to bring in more than 10 or 12 into that room at any given time. And so we're literally this week teaching ourselves how to get the presentation up, and show it on our screen. And I've held voluntary meetings where I tried to get my people to learn how to get on Google Meets. I've got about half my staff pretty proficient. The others either aren't choosing, they were voluntary because we're off schedule. But here's my thing. Oh, and then what we were going to do, and Tommy, of course, you got me in trouble the other day. Thank you. One of my people came in and said, "Why can't we do our physicals on site?" I said, "We can." "Well, why don't we?" They just come in and they're going to do their physicals right there. Well, I do that for drug screening, but I haven't done the physical part yet.
We don't do physicals on site. They still go to CVS for that. We use
They said you were doing the physicals on site. I'm
PPT and
like,
drug
Tommy,
screens. Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
I was
People
gonna
do-
say, yeah, we do drug screen on site, but not physicals
We
either.
switched to using CVS, the Minute Clinic, and it's absolutely amazing. They make the appointment, and we give them a voucher to pay for it, and we get billed. It has been the
Right.
best thing ever.
Oh, that's
Best thing
awesome.
ever.
It's a good
Yeah, no,
option.
I don't want naked drivers running around my office doing physicals. They can
Yeah.
take care of that somewhere else. I'm just saying.
Well, I can tell you this. So what we're doing is like they need to obviously come in somewhere to do their drug screen. So
Sure.
we split it into 4 groups. And when that group comes in and does their drug screen, after they've taken CPR online, they'll roll into the driver's room, take place on a stance at a dummy, demonstrate the ability, and that's it. They're out. We might do their PPT at that same time, rotating those 10 through stations. But we figure there's certain things they have to be here for.
Right.
Then all of a sudden I'm hearing, well, it's okay to go be in a classroom with X number of kids. And I'm like,
Just mask
yeah, we're
up.
coming back. And I'm like, why am I making all this effort if we're going to have this? But that effort, I'm going to tell
But
you,
you know why? Because your people appreciate it and they feel
No.
valued.
well,
Gatherings
I'm
less
telling you,
than
that's
50.
why I'm going to continue that effort, period.
That's right.
Gatherings less than 50 are okay.
Well,
I
and
can fit 28 people in my training room 6 feet apart. I'm having 28 people come in at a time when I need them.
we're
And
doing
I
ours in
can't-
regions. We have 3 regions at Kyrene, and each region is going to be split up into 3 rotation
Yeah.
groups as they come in to do the things they have to do. But I totally agree, Eric. Placing value on their safety, despite what district leadership has decided for them, it just shows our loyalty to our folks, and that's powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I need them to come back.
That's right. We have to
You
retain
know what I
them.
mean? So I'm showing them all the love I can show them, man. I'm like, there's going to be a day we're rolling again. And that big thing today, which I don't know about your districts, the question was whether those people that elect or say they qualify for being on campus on the 17th,
Mhm.
they haven't decided if we're going to transport those yet.
Really?
We haven't either.
Yeah, that actually came up in the meeting. And I, just like everything else, I just went, hey, whatever you need, boss.
Exactly.
Big smile. And then I will sit here after speaking to you guys, which is a wonderful opportunity. Thank you. And I will email my,
Hammer it out, right?
and that's it. Yeah, I mean, I'll email in writing what my concerns are, and then whatever they direct me to do, whoever I can find that are willing to do it, we're going to go and do the best job that we can over and over. That's all I'm asking of my staff is just, this is weird, man. So just make
It
the
is.
best effort.
It is.
Make the
Well,
best effort.
And when I think about coming back on the 17th, but not receiving benchmark data to allow that return in person until the 7th, when you sit behind the lens that we all sit behind, it's not a lot of time. Are we going to have to build different routes because it's just 1 or 2 buildings, as Tommy said, or are we going to have to prepare to go to all schools? It's very fluid and etched in sand, as our director has been saying.
The problem is going to be after yesterday's press conference, we're going to get all this work together. How are we going to do it? Like Eric was just an admin. We're all going to be calling the admin by next Tuesday to discuss all this.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be working on it. And then in 2 weeks, which would be the 6th, we're going to have another press conference and all this, it's all changed again. We have to start all over again.
Perhaps.
Like I said, that's, I think, my just frustration is the communication coming from the way top, not even our administrators.
Right.
It's coming from the way top. There's no guidance there. And Eric, I sit here, do whatever you need me to do, I'm going to do. You let me, Megan, you want me to do this? Here's what it's going to look like. Perfect. I can do it, but here's what it looks like, Megan.
Here's what might happen as a repercussion.
And
I mean,
I'm
for
all
me,
over doing that.
And for
I have
us,
no problem doing that, but we're wasting so much time trying to come up with a different scenario every time that I'm just so burnt out over that.
well, right. We're not.
And my attitude about this whole thing right now is the crappiest it has been in such a long time.
The pace,
because
keeping the
I just-
pace is difficult. And then we have to keep our positive spin for our folks who are very worried about their jobs and about their right
Which is hard.
stability. And then we talk about being creative with benefits and then getting some pushback because of the rules and whatnot. So yeah, it's definitely been kind of an adventure, and we continue to have to adapt and adjust. So
Well, let me say this, Tommy, too. I think that some of the scary thing to me is if you and I'm sure all of you did pay attention to the conference, the districts aren't even going to get clear.
No.
They're going to have a superintendent site to go on and look what their what their area is showing. They're going to take those 4 or 5 factors, and if that equals you open, you better open.
Well,
You know what I mean? And
exactly.
so I may open, but Dave
I
doesn't open.
I may not.
But
Yeah,
what
but-
happens
I'm sitting here
if,
thinking,
I wonder if that's going to be fluid too. Like next week, the criteria changes and now you're no longer eligible to remain open. I mean, it could be a disaster.
you know, I'm sitting here thinking Wickenburg's going to open, Saddle Mountain will probably open, Arlington, all these outlying, you know, outside the.
Well, not too
area,
far out, because once you hit the reservation, that
Then
changes.
you're done. You're right. Yeah, their numbers are. Armando, we know, isn't going to be able to start with his location where he's at. You know, Brian, you're not going to be able to start because of where your location is at. Dave, Scott, so you're not going to. But when you start looking at these far out with smaller districts, you know, maybe only 500-600 kiddos, they're going to start before all of us. And I just don't see how that's equitable. Like he was saying, it's got to be equitable across.
Agreed.
That's not going to be equitable for our kids. And do I want to start? Like you wouldn't freaking believe. I
Right?
need my people here. And I don't know. I'm going to have to take like a 6-month vacation twice a year until this is gone. I'm
Right.
telling
The
you right now.
cohesiveness. We have to have them back in front of us to continue to be cohesive with them. So, and they
Yeah,
haven't
and
been
I'm
behind the
very
wheel
lucky-
for 30 weeks.
I'm very lucky to have a staff that's begging me to do Zoom meetings every week just so they can see each other.
Yeah, we've been
You know,
pretty
and
good.
we can talk and check in with each other. I'm very lucky with that because I'm sure some of you have people that don't want to hear a word from you until it's time. Okay, I can come back now. Quit sending me all these emails and stuff. So I'm very lucky for that. But I want my team back, and I'm not getting it. And I get frustrated when I can't tell them this is the day you're coming back because now I don't know.
Right. Right.
So-
Trace, you're awfully quiet, Mr. Tolby. How's it going in Gilbert?
I'm just absorbing what you guys are saying. We're going to bring everybody back in groups of 22 at a time and do in-service in groups. So I'm going to do all of the week of the 3rd and the Monday of the next week, doing 2 in-services per day.
Nice.
And then we're going to require all the drivers to ride with a behind-the-wheel trainer for 3 to 4 hours, just to get acquainted
Brush up.
with the bus again. And it just gives us an opportunity to burn some hours. And then after that, then they can, part of the in-service would be selecting their routes because we changed everything, obviously. And then after that, then they can practice their routes, and then I have no clue what I'm going to do to keep.
Is it a bid process, Trace? Do you have a bid process for route selection?
Yeah, I'm not thrilled with it, but yeah, we're going to go ahead and bid type thing.
Nice.
But being that we just switched to Versatrans, there's not a single route that looks the same. So, of
That's good. Good time for a new start, right?
course, there's not much in our district that looks the same.
Or our state.
Trace,
Yeah.
email me on that and I'll give you some ideas with that number of staff so your bidding doesn't take forever. Because
Okay.
we have a process that we do that now takes us about 25 minutes to get through 100 people. So
Damn.
Yeah, we
Okay.
have a process too. We have one too.
Tommy,
Yeah, Karma
I'd
would
like
guys
that
are
too.
doing.
We have a bid process too, but I'm always looking to improve upon it, so.
So maybe that's a whole nother, maybe that's another leadership opportunity when we meet another time and it's not so COVID focused. We can do a little routing thing,
so
Tommy.
is 2035.
Is it something that you can post on the one of the TAA forum things, Tommy?
I'm sure I can, yeah. And I'll send you a link to our private website because I have a private website for my department and it's got the
Cool.
bidding procedures on it. I'll send you that so you can see it too.
I feel important if I can be on your private website.
Listen to that.
I'm not letting you in our private Facebook page. Calm down, Trace.
We also, you know, is your bid process, I'm kind of off of the topic a little bit, but like here at Kyrene, we have a bid process that includes performance. And those components are, you know, on-time performance and speeding and safety and harsh braking and things like that. Does anybody else pull that in for some of the bid criteria, or is it just seniority?
Seniority here.
Ours is performance and attendance and then seniority.
Nice.
I'm just doing seniority at this point.
Little steps with a whole new process. It's a good place to start.
I do perfect attendance first
Nice.
because I can't give money for
Right.
perfect attendance. So it's perfect attendance, and then it goes into seniority from there.
Nice.
We do perfect attendance puts you on a matrix.
Yep.
So it's 0 and then seniority within 0, 1 to 2 seniority within 1 to 2, 3 to 5 seniority within 3 to 5,
Oh, nice.
6 to 10
That's
seniority,
cool.
and then over 10 seniority.
Eric, that's what I
But
do.
I have been warned that that's something we probably aren't going to put a lot of weight on in the upcoming year.
Yeah,
Well,
we
I-
didn't
What
even
the hell am I gonna do
open
now?
bids.
I'm lost.
Yeah, I haven't opened bids yet
Well,
either.
We're
I'm
like,
doing perfect attendance through March.
that's if they want, so that we can kind of shorten up that bid process even more.
Yeah, I did perfect attendance through March. Nothing counted after March. I just put the link to our private website for my department in the comments if you all want to go look on it and just. But it's got like our bidding process on the side, what we do, how we do it. I put all my routes online by bus number, and they have to research and look at it before bidding starts because they only get 3 minutes to choose their route when it comes to their turn. So they rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When someone chooses one, I mark it off so they can't choose it anymore. It takes about 25 minutes to get through everybody. So
Wow.
I'm not wasting time on bid, listening to them, get up here to look at it. No, you do your research beforehand and you come in ready to go.
Well, we were going to send out like a PDF of each route and just what schools, not really what route, but at least that way they can kind of get a head start when they come into the room, because we're only going to do 5 or 10 people at a time.
Yeah.
You know, and bring it in. You get 5, 10 minutes, get the heck out, you know.
I'll do mine on Zoom this year. But yeah,
And-
I send it that way and it gets done. And my guys, they don't really care about the routes. They're looking at the bus number. That's all they really care about right now is that bus number.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, the equipment is, depending on, right? Is that what you mean, Tommy, right? If it's newer, if it's.
I've been very lucky over the 6 years I've been here. I've purchased over 60 new vehicles. So everything we have is 2017 or newer now. So everything's pretty much exactly alike, but there's still a few on the fleet that they will not drive. So they avoid those like the plague. But most of them, they just want that number, and that I don't care where it goes. This is the bus I'm taking. So yeah.
So we have a ours is pretty, our bid process, I think, is pretty similar, but it's pretty, our demographic is pretty diverse and our areas, pockets of very different areas. So that's where the route bidding becomes valuable here. Yeah, everybody does a little bit differently. And I think it depends on the size of your staff. And I think it depends on,
Oh, and by the way, Trace, that private web, that page that I just sent you guys, those are free through Google. You can just create your own and only send the link to your staff to update them. I'm tired of doing remind Facebook and email to everyone. So I sent out just that web address to them and go, everything's here. You need to check this 3-4 times a week. So I'm only updating one place and everyone's getting the exact same information. So
Nice.
just an idea for communication for your staff. Because like my drivers don't get district email and some won't do
Oh, they
Facebook.
don't?
No, and some don't do remind. So I'm like, everyone has internet though, so they can all go to this website and do it. I'm not.
And it's probably comfortable because I think we all have staff and this has really helped them kind of, right, embrace technology during this time, but there's a comfort level for some of our folks that's pretty basic or entry level. And so I think the website probably a little bit less intimidating than an email or, a login or what have you. So that's a pretty good idea.
Yep.
Yeah. One other thing I forgot to mention is we hired CPI to come in and certify some trainers for us. And that's something else we're going to do is we're going to CPI certify every bus driver, van driver, and monitor
Nice.
in the
That's
place.
positive.
And that'll kill up some time too.
So Trace,
And then
do you have any spots in those courses that you would welcome or invite other district staff to attend?
Well, the thing that we just are in the process of doing, it was like 25 grand, and he teaches 10 people for 4 of them to become trainers, 6 of them become champions, I think he called them.
Mhm.
And basically then the 4 after that can train the rest of my staff.
Right.
So then I can just run classes whenever I want. The books are $22 a person after the first 10.
I think that's
and then-
positive and powerful. I think if we all have the ability to have folks attend, but I feel like in districts, they plan those courses where you would want to have your staff attend when we're running routes. It's not during intercession.
Well,
It's not
and
during.
that was the whole point, and I know I talked to Tommy and some other you guys about how much money this district had spent on Comtrans and the ACEs.
Mhm.
It allows me to take all those kids back with every driver CPI certified, and
Well, it
so
empowers your drivers with new skills.
well, and I don't have to spend $135,000 a month on outside transportation.
You get the miles and yeah, that's positive. Cool.
So
Awesome. What else, guys, before we wrap up? And I don't think that there's another meeting scheduled, but I would like to think that with the next update from the powers that be, we would want to get together one more time. I'm sure Jason will send out an invite for a Friday if Fridays are still going to work for everyone. Maybe not next Friday, possibly.
I'd like to do it every. I'd like to do it every other week
At
for the
least.
rest of the year. You know.
Okay. And then, like I said, as we get past the whole COVID focus, perhaps we can talk about some other things. I think the forum coupled with just this dialogue, I think is positive. We all have a takeaway every single time. So I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I do enjoy meeting with this group at least every other week.
Okay. Alternating.
I enjoy seeing and hearing from everyone when it's not conference. I love seeing you at conference, but I don't like the once a year thing. And having this on a calendar, we can pop in and pop out. I really do enjoy this.
That's
Yep.
good. Yep. It's definitely been positive and helpful, right? It's like, wow, it's kind of like conference in the fact that, wow, I'm not too far off the mark, or we have some work to do. So it's reassuring and enlightening all at the same time.
And we all have ideas and processes that we either think of or come up throughout the year. And then when you're at a conference for a couple of days, it's not something that either comes to mind or that you communicate in the small interactions that you have with people at conference. You know, something like this where you keep up throughout the year, it's something that we can, you know, as statewide kind of keep a constant across all of our districts. I think it's fantastic. I think we
Well,
should
and there's a wealth of knowledge, years of experience where, like, I mean, Eric sharing earlier, kind of the dialogue he used with his leadership in support of them, but also in support of his people, right? You have to learn that balancing act. So I think we, you know, Tommy, well, why can't we use these dollars, you know,
Well,
pushing just a tiny bit without being disrespectful, because it's worth asking.
You know what it's done for us this year with all of this is I think all of us, when we had to submit our plans to our administrators on what it's going to look like for buses, I think we all pretty much submitted the exact same thing. And I think it just showed how we were all on that same page. So there wasn't this separation and such difference everywhere. I really liked that a lot. My superintendent actually goes onto the TA page and watches these after they're done.
Oh,
So,
good.
she was impressed with how many people are in and what we're talking. It's all the same thing. So I just like that, where we're all on the same page and we're not waiting. And it's nice doing this when it's not through an email either, where
Right.
we can actually sit and talk it out, because, you know, those emails get this long, and all of us, I'm sure, receive more than 4 emails a day. You know,
No.
except
Little bit more
Stephanie.
than
She only gets 2 because, well, you know.
Well, and we're not wasting, you know, windshield time and travel time, and you know, this is something you can
Correct.
pop in and
But it's engagement and it's important. So
Absolutely.
it's good stuff.
Well, speaking of which, Brian, can you give us an update on your project?
Oh, yes.
so yeah, I've been gathering all of the you know, the fire information and FMCSA and all of that. And in the middle of this, I get an email from a company that has already done that and is selling the product now.
Well, but it's a soft apparatus, not
Yep.
chains, right? That's
That's
the one
correct,
you're
yes.
talking about.
Yes.
That was my only concern. I'm like, is Brian really asking for 56 chains to hang from his high school buses? Like, I was like,
Well, we were
faith, brother.
we we were looking at different, I mean, that's what we used for our prototype here so that we could have the
Right.
free blow to the air to move. But we had like 5 different materials to use for that. When we took it in, we could say, okay, you don't like that one? Okay, you don't like that one?
Right. Well, so did you guys decide to purchase the soft barriers?
Not yet. We're gonna hold off a little bit because since we're not coming back until October, we don't know. Well, at least October anyway. We don't know if the CDC guidelines for transportation are still going to be the same in 2 months as they are now. So we'll probably wait till mid-September to really look and start if we're going to start purchasing things for the bus.
I can tell you, I've been asking for electrostatic disinfectant sprayers
Right.
for 4 to 7 years in this district. I've been like, I thought the flu was worthy to disinfect a bus, but I finally got them now. Well, I don't have
Right.
them. I'm waiting, but
Yeah,
boy, I finally got those.
I've just got one.
You got one of your 100 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else ordering those? I think we all have many of those are on back order. If you have custodial vendors as your contractor, maybe you have a little bit of an edge to get them. But we too, we've used, I know some districts are using like a paint type mist distributing like technique. I mean, some are using like bug spray pump techniques. And what's it gonna look like? So lots
And
of
this
different.
fancy device right here.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, but go find those right now, Tommy. I just spent $54.
They just stole, I had 100 of them for the buses. Maintenance came and stole them yesterday for the classrooms because the ones they ordered weren't in yet. And I'm like, hey, as long as I get them back before I start moving buses, I don't
Yeah,
care.
good luck, Tommy.
I
Yeah,
know.
right?
On that one.
That
I'm
is
not
a
getting them back.
positive
I figured
attitude.
this out.
Hey, we did 30 handhelds, one for every live route,
Nice.
then 4 backpacks is what we have on order. And
Nice.
they actually insisted that we disinfect between each and every route. Every time we come empty, between tiers.
Right.
And the only reason for that was trying to control the potential spread, right? From one entire neighborhood
Group, sure.
to another. And it actually flew, which was just amazing to me. I'm very proud of our district right now. They support us pretty well, but
Were you able to build time in then, Eric, between tiers for that sanitation process?
that's a great question, Shannon. So I asked for double the time of what we have today because obviously if you go from 84 to 28 seats, but with a diminished pool as well, right? I mean, every kid's going to return, but I still went for 1 body per seat because I'm kind of between Ernie and everyone else. Like, I don't think the CDC really, the 14 on a bus is going to make much difference, personal opinion, versus 28, especially with the 2010 newer with the higher seat backs, you kind of have a natural barrier.
Right, exactly.
So I went for 1 per seat. I got that approved, my district agreed, but still you're going from, 80 kids, 78 kids, 28. So I asked for more time and they will not commit to me what that time is, but that also included some dwell time for the electrostatic sprayer. So in other words, when they did their student safety check, they'd hit the button and then disinfect all the way back up to the front of the bus, then roll to the next stop, and we'll have that dwell time to allow the chemical to kill,
Nice.
So that was the idea. And so if they show up, number one, if they give me the time, it's all wonderful. But I certainly, again, put it in writing what we needed to be successful. If they choose to do something else, I'm unfortunately, I'm a little bit down the chain, so I don't get to make.
I get it. Yeah. It's like, please come and see it through our lens.
Right.
But awesome. All right, guys. I know we're super close. Does anyone else have anything? Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Mike Fisher over at Littleton. Just changing the subject a little bit.
Sure.
But, those of you who are ASBO members, voting is open and it closes today. And please go online and vote for your favorite transportation director
Your
there.
officers, yeah, so Jason is in that running. So if you guys haven't voted and you are members, don't forget to vote.
It's Jason and James West, I think, from
And-
Holliston Union, correct? for
Correct, James
transportation?
West, yep.
All right. And you can order your Hey Bus Driver podcast face masks.
Oh, or here, wait, I have a picture of
Would
the
like
neck gator. See? Hashtag safety.
I got mine.
Oh, cool.
Order those at?
Online on the Hey Bus Driver website.
HeyBusDriver.com or the Hey Bus Driver podcast Facebook page. I think they're $11 each, and the gator I think is 13 or 14. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's 14.
Yeah, and it did. I ordered this I think on Monday or Tuesday, and it's already here. And there's large. This is the extra large, and the large fits a little bit differently. And then the net gator is very nice too. Mine should be
It is.
here today.
Yeah, and we can I'll have we maybe can push out the link or whatever if you guys have interest. But most importantly, thanks for just continuing to join us, and we'll get an invitation out for the next opportunity. If something exciting happens in between, we'll maybe do it sooner. But don't hesitate to reach out to each other with needs and to bounce things off of.
Use
And
the forum.
yeah, use the forum for sure. It's pretty positive. If you haven't taken a peek, you can get there. I think there's a link on the website, the TAA website as
Yes.
well. This meeting will be recorded in the minutes from all of the others. So stay connected and be safe and all that good stuff, you guys. All right, bye
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Take care.
Bye, Stephanie. You crackhead. Go
Bye.
Kraken.
Hang in there. Pace
Kraken.
yourselves.